This is Jason Kanigan from Make Space Boring, the quick show about who I'm meeting and what I'm learning in the space field. And remember, we are on a mission to make space boring, which means to normalize it, to have investors know what the heck we're doing and what we're talking about, and they're comfortable with us and we're comfortable with them, and everybody's making some money. People are going to work at space jobs and using space-made products and services like they do ones made terrestrially today. So that's the deal, because if we're out there making weird stuff and the public doesn't understand it, we will never get user adoption, and that is the name of the game. Okay, the commercial industry of space is still a budding thing. It is a tiny, fragile thing. Most of the investment comes from the DoD and NASA, so it's just not as big of a thing as you might have thought. So who am I meeting? I had the pleasure yesterday of recording with Richard Ward of OrbitsEdge. He goes by Rick. And Rick was a lot of fun. We had quite a bit of a talk before and after the show, and there's a disturbing amount of correlation between his experience and mine in some respects. We've both been interested in metal fab, and I think he's more interested in doing stuff with his hands and doing the burning and things like that. And I'm more on the thinking and planning side of things. But I have run a metal fab shop, and so has he. We're both writers, and I found out that it was actually his interest in writing and getting the story details right, which got a huge thumbs up from me in the middle of the podcast, that helped him get a job with DSI, with Deep Space Industries, when they were around. It's just wild. Like, I look through his resume, and this just comes out of left field. Like, how the hell did you get that job? And then this story comes up, and so it was really entertaining, you know. So that is, he is interested in putting these processing computers in space on satellites, and of course he had to make a frame for it that's radiation shielded and able to handle that horrible environment out there that is trying to kill you, me, and everything, whether you are animate or not. And the idea is to not have to send data to the ground to be processed, that it can be processed up in space. And there's this thing called edge computing, where it's a better idea to process the data near to where it was generated and then do something with it. So we get into all the advantages of doing this. There are many. I cannot list them here, or we'd be here for way too long. But look for that episode. It's a lot of fun. This week's episode of the Cultstar Project, the full format show, is with Dr. Chris Dreyer of the Colorado School of Mines. If you missed that, go check it out. They're running what I call the only asteroid mining online degree program on the planet that I'm aware of. It's very cool. It's called the Space Resources Management Program, and Dr. Dreyer would be mad at me if I didn't add that, look, it's about more than just asteroid mining. Resources include a lot of things. An example he gave was solar power generated. You know, that is a resource as well. Just looking at my list here. Oh yeah, the Professor Astronaut stuff. If you're enjoying the Professor Astronaut stuff, feel free to submit your own question. I'm also looking for people in industry to submit their own questions, recorded in your own voice. I think that would be a lot of fun. The more inane the question and the simpler the question, the better in a lot of ways. But if you email in or just message me on LinkedIn, we'll figure out a way to transfer that over. A soundbite of you asking that question, I can embed it into the episode and come up with a nonsense answer. I think it'll be a lot of fun. It's a fun series. I've written comedy for a long time. Part of the reason why I'm in the U.S. at all, I'm Canadian originally. I know it hardly shows, but there it is because I was writing comedy. And this format has been interesting because, and you'll see it in the progression of simpler ideas so far with the episodes. I am very good at making something look credible that isn't, and well-researched that is nonsense. And in a written format, you have more time to do that, and the reader can pause and think about it and that kind of thing. And it's pretty funny, right? I was actually writing as a hobby. This was just for fun. For a site that was a parody of Wikipedia, and the idea there was that somebody who was a PhD in the field and like a 6-year-old or a 9-year-old would both laugh equally at the thing. If you hit those points, you did a good job. So this format is interesting because there's kind of this breathless rush, and I've made Professor Astronaut mindlessly enthusiastic, kind of in the Blackadder, that sort of 1700s episode or season style, if you know what I'm talking about there. where he is earnestly trying to help but doesn't have a clue what he's talking about, right? And I find that pretty funny. So I've had to really tone it down, make it simpler, make the ideas simpler, and make the details less well researched and plausible sounding than I originally would have, or in a written format I would have. So I'm open to topic suggestions on that. You can email askprofessorastronaut@cultstartech.com. That is quite a mouthful, but it will stop the spammers because none of them can spell, and that is way too many long words for them. So I think it'll work out. And I do believe that industry participation is going to make it probably twice as funny. If we get, so-and-so from this place asks XYZ, and people go, hey, I know who that is. I think it'll be even more fun. Anyway, we have some great episodes coming up. I'm recording with some very cool people. Eldrige de Melo, I think he's a ground station expert outside of the North American and European areas. Jess Sponable, who is, we've been waiting a long time for this. When I got the PDF back from the Air Force saying approved for public release, I was like, yes. So he's a DARPA guy, he's an Air Force guy, tons and tons of experience on these projects, and we've got a pretty straight road that we're going to have to travel doing that interview, but I think it's going to be a lot of fun. Let's see. I mean, we got Satellite2020 coming up next week. I don't know if I'm going to be able to get away for that, but we'll see. We'll see. Maybe on the Wednesday or the Thursday I'll be able to get out of here. But we got a lot to do right now. Making this content. You may think it's easy, and I try and make it easy. I try and do this, for example, with this show. As few edits as possible, as simple as possible. I don't put logos on it. I don't dress it up at all. I just shoot it and cut it, and it still takes a little while, and some of the stuff you can delegate, but a lot of it's just easier to do yourself, I find. Anyway, I hope you're enjoying the series and all the different things that we're putting out here. It is fun. I'm starting to get the feedback that I was hoping for. It's been like 6 months now that we've been on this, and I think it's starting to make an impact. I'm hearing from people in the industry that, the young folks are listening to it in the colleges and universities. The experts are starting to tune in, and I can see you signed up to the list. Remember, there is that email list. I don't spam people who know, who are on that list. The emails you get from me are, hey, this is what happened, this is a link to it, and maybe there's one other thing that I think you might find interesting here and there. And that's about it. And I send 3, 4, 5 of those a week. That's it. That's it when there's new content. So it's not going to be intrusive. So if you want to sign up for that and get email notifications so you don't miss anything from us, go ahead and sign up at cultstartech.com/MSB, obviously short for Make Space Boring. You'll see I did the reverse there with the Ask Professor Astronaut at cultstartech.com thing because I want I want it to be easy for you to sign up to that list and difficult for you to spam me on the Ask Professor Astronaut thing. See, only PhDs will send in questions because it's just too damn hard to spell. I will talk to you Tuesday next week. That will be, wow, the 10th. We're getting into March real quick. Thanks for watching.